a BLM protest just took place in Plano, Texas. And you had this guy get out of his car, obviously upset at the situation because they were blocking an entire section of road. They were blocking it for a while, from my understanding of it. So the traffic was blocked up. I mean, just a ways down this entire road. They weren't letting cars through, all in the name of BLM. And this guy gets out of his car and he confronts the group. He's obviously upset, as I would imagine anybody would be if you're trying to get anywhere, whether that's work or whatever it may be, and you have this group blocking traffic for no good reason whatsoever and calling it a protest. So before I get into this video about what's going on in this situation, please remember to like this video, to subscribe to the channel, but the best way you can help me out here is to share this video. So let's get into it. There is a little bit of language where the guy is obviously upset at this situation, and we're going to kind of break down exactly what took place, kind of timeline in the situation by situation in this instance here. So let's go ahead and start this off here, where once again, look how far back this traffic is blocked off. Okay, now let's go ahead and go through what's actually taking place. So you have this group yelling Black Lives Matter, all this stuff here on the street. These cars can't move. There's not a traffic light, and you have cars pulling away in the background trying to get out of this thing. Goes back a ways. People can't even turn. Look at this. Well, they're keeping a lot of these cars from moving here. This guy starts running over here.
Get the fuck out of my way!
Yeah, so this guy's trying to go. Now right here, well, I pull it over. Okay, right there in this area here is the officer that's supposed to be, I'm assuming, stopping them from blocking traffic, and he's not doing that. He's just standing on the corner, basically doing nothing. So obviously this guy's upset, as many people would be if you can't move at this point. So going on here. Now he's yelling at the group, and I'm gonna pause in a second here. And he kind of swings at somebody. Watch that. Okay, there's this guy here. Let me put it back a second. Right here, this guy pulls out a gun. Right in this section here. He pulls out a gun on this dude here at this moment. Because he had pushed somebody and he just immediately pulls out a gun. What's crazy about all of this is, so all of a sudden you're against all these guns. You're against people having these guns and using them in this situation and pulling them out. Like, why is this guy allowed to do this? How is he allowed to just pull a gun on somebody? Mind you, keep in mind, there's a cop that's like right there. And he's allowing, this is not a police officer pulling his gun out. This is a person that's a part of this protest that's pulling out a handgun on this guy in the middle of the street, and the police are doing nothing about it. Nothing. Now, if you're looking at this situation, you've got a guy that's presumably unarmed, and you got to have a guy with a gun in his hand. In any other instance, what do you think would normally take place if a police officer is standing right there? That they were going to say, hey, look, drop the gun. Like, you can't escalate this fight like this. But the police do nothing. The police do nothing about this. So it goes on here. And apparently that's some lawyer guy or something like that that's mad. Police officers doing nothing. So the police officer's like, he's kind of going to calm the guy here. He needs to be getting these protesters out of here. I mean, it's blocked all the way down the road here.
Thank you.
Now, if you heard in the background, they call the guy racist and white. If you heard that in the background, which is already ridiculous because you're blocking traffic. You're blocking traffic. So So they kind of go on, and it goes on with the guy basically just kind of eventually going back to his car. And he kind of just walks away, but everybody's just continuously complaining through the whole entire situation. But once again, what you're noticing here is that the police have done nothing. They're doing nothing about the situation. When they're trying to confront somebody, they're more so concerned about the guy that's like, hey, you're blocking the road and I can't move. Keep in mind, people have to get to their jobs. People have to get places. Like, nobody likes to be blocked on the road. You know what I mean? And everybody wants to pretend as if this is somehow a peaceful protest. It's not considered a peaceful protest when you're literally blocking the flow of traffic. Roads are not meant for you to protest on. You get what I'm saying? Like, you can go on the side of the road all day. When we would do the Trump flag waves, we did it all the time. We were on the side of the road with the flags, no problem. But you can't be blocking traffic and then say that this is perfectly fine, perfectly legal. And you know one place where this wouldn't be taking place right now? The one place where this wouldn't be taking place is in Florida. Because Ron DeSantis is a person with common sense that understands that this stuff is not going to fly here. So under the new riot bill that he had signed, you're not going to be allowed anymore legally to be on the road blocking traffic for the namesake of any protesting. That's not how it works, and you're not going to be able to get away with it because you're going to get arrested. And that's what should have happened here. The people that are blocking this road should have been arrested for this kind of stuff. You can't do this. You can stand on the side of the road all day, but you cannot interact or obstruct people's movability and getting things done. In the meantime, you don't know if somebody's trying to go with a medical emergency. What if it's a situation where an ambulance or a fire truck or a police officer is trying to get to the scene of something, but they can't because of blocked traffic from this group that apparently cares about Black lives? That you have to take this stuff into consideration when you're trying to block a road and say that it's perfectly okay for us to do this. It's not okay. And clearly, this stuff wouldn't fly in Florida, and every other state needs to be copying what Ron DeSantis did if they want this stuff to end. You can't have BLM running the street, doing whatever they want to do while you have this woke cop, I'm assuming, standing out there saying it's perfectly fine. I see nothing wrong here. Keep in mind, once again, that guy in the BLM group pulled a gun on another guy that had no gun on him that we could see. And the cop did nothing about it. He never said drop the gun. He wasn't paying attention to the gun. I don't know what's going on. How is it that these people are allowed to have guns ready to fire on a white guy, on anyone that's in this group, and all of a sudden think that that's okay? And the police officers do absolutely nothing except stand there and just kind of say, oh, calm down, no big deal, right? Where they're just about to shoot each other, but no big deal. You can't allow for that to happen. Any real police officer would not be standing for that whatsoever. They would have taken that gun away from the guy. They would have actually probably have went ahead and arrested him immediately, because you can't just pull a gun on somebody just because you feel like doing it at any given point in time. You know what I mean? So it's one of those situations where people need to be paying attention to this stuff, because you can't have these groups running the streets and then immediately calling the guy racist. Like, maybe he just wants to get out of the road. And I think it's kind of hard to hear, but I'm pretty sure in one part he said, look, if you're being a jerk, basically, like, I'm going to call you a jerk. It has nothing to do with race. If you're being a jerk, you're a jerk. And if you're blocking traffic, you're a jerk blocking traffic. And I'm calling it out because that's what it is. I don't care who you are. You shouldn't be out here blocking traffic like this, and that's ridiculous. So this also brings up another point that I've talked about before on the show as well, where when you have these people that are doing these types of activities on the roads like this and other things and calling it peaceful even though it's not, what you wind up with is a situation where you're only making people more racist as a result. Not just white people, but even black people towards their own race, because what you're doing is showing, you know what, we don't care about what you're doing. We're going to make your life inconvenient. We're going to keep bothering you about things that you're not concerned about, things that have nothing to, that statistically speaking aren't even really taking place in the United States at all. Especially when you're talking about the fact that all of these people that have been killed by the BLM thing that they're trying to or talk about are criminals. Every single one of them, hard, cold criminals all the time. But they're wanting to do this, and they're pointing this stuff out, and they're blocking and obstructing traffic and everything else, and then saying, well, you know, you must adhere to what it is that we think in every single way. And all you're doing is making people resent you. You're making them hate you and already just see a black person and be like, you know what? They're probably a part of that group that was blocking traffic, that was pulling handguns on people for no reason. That's what they're going to associate you as being. And in the whole while, you're thinking that you're fighting racial justice when all you're doing is making people more pissed off at black people in the entire process. So it doesn't help the cause. If you want to do something about it, then you need to act respectfully. If you want to be treated respectfully, you need to behave respectfully. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out, just somebody with a little bit of common sense. So with that being said, I thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.